Okay, so here I am days later. We left off at the legislative department. So we have, under Article 4, a General Assembly. It's exactly the same thing as the U.S. Congress, except we don't call it the Illinois Congress. It's divided into two houses. We have a Senate, we have a House of Representatives. Same thing, except we have 59 senators instead of 100, and we have 118 representatives instead of 435. You will need to remember those numbers. I'm sorry, I hate to do that, in a class. You have to. I'm not a dates and numbers sort of guy. I'm more of a big picture. Do you get the big picture? But you need to know, just in this class, what these things are and what's going on. So this is the House of Representatives. I've sat in those seats. It's kind of cool to do that. And if you're ever in Springfield, take a tour of the building. It's a beautiful building. It really is. So Illinois, you have 59 legislative districts for the state Senate. We cut those in half and we get 118 representative districts. So the state representatives come out of those. Every 10 years, you have to redistrict or divide the state into districts based on new census information. Now, we still have, even though we've lost population, we still have the 59 state Senate districts and the 118 representative districts. It's just we've lost population. At the federal level, and again, this is not a class on the federal government, so the answers that you gave in the pretest and some of the other assignments about the president doing this, that, and the other thing, that's American national government. That's not this. We lost, though, a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives because of the population exodus, and I know we did a discussion board question on that, too. So districts must be compact, contiguous, and substantially equal in population. So this means that a district can't be divided into several parts. All districts have to have approximately, and there's a little wiggle room there, what approximately means, the same number of people. So compact, contiguous, and substantially equal in population. Let's take a look at 3 districts. Does this district meet the compact part? It is contiguous, certainly, because, there isn't part of the 118th district isn't over here. We don't have part of the 118th district up here. So it does run, but it stretches a bit. I wouldn't consider that necessarily contiguous. Now, they do a better job here at being compact. Now, Democrats draw the map, and I don't say that in any partisan sense. It's just the Democrats have been in control of this state time out of mind. So they always get to draw the map because they're the party in power. So this is the 22nd district. I'd say that they did a good job at being compact, contiguous here. Now this one, no. Because the problems of the people up here are not the problems probably the people down here are facing. This is called gerrymandering. I don't think they did it much here, but here and here, yeah. So let's look at population. Total population in the 118th in 2020 was 97,682. Total population of the 22nd, 110,338. Total population of the 35th, that just snakes all the way up here. I know I grew up in this area. Evergreen Park, which you see right here, which my mouse is hovering over, is a totally different ballgame than Orland Park, and they deserve different representation. Oak Lawn, too. I mean, it's a more compact area up north in the south suburbs where I grew up. But, all these neighborhoods are very, very different. And this isn't probably necessarily fair in terms of representation, but they did I would say 97,000 to 110,000, they did honor the substantially equal in population portion of the Constitution. Now, I asked I'll come back to that in a minute. So the legislative department, you elect 1 senator and 2 representatives. So you got 59 state senators and 118 representatives. Gee, that's about the 3rd time I brought that up. I wonder if that's going to be on the test. I know the guy that writes it. I think it probably will be. So to be elected to the General Assembly, a person has to be a U.S. citizen, at least 21 years of age, and a resident of the district to be represented for at least 2 years. Why 2 years when it only requires you to be a resident of the district for 30 days to vote? Well, you get a better idea of what the problems of the district are if you live there for 2 years as opposed to just 30 days. So 2 years, every 2 years, we clean the House. All 118 state Senate seats are up for re-election. State senators serve terms of 4 years. And again, this is the Illinois House of Representatives. Fun place. Again, elected every 2 years. It's the lower house of our legislature. The Democrats have controlled this House. I believe the Republicans, if I'm remembering correctly, and I am by no means an encyclopedia, I think they had the House for 2 years sometime in the 90s. They have no term limits, and this is something that probably is never going to change, because guess who has to vote on imposing term limits? The House of Representatives and the State Senate. Power, folks, is a great aphrodisiac. You're not going to want to give it up once you've got it. So, are we ever going to see term limits? Probably not in our lifetimes, unless we get 118 good people, good, honest people who actually want to do something for the state and help in the House of Representatives, and 59 good people in the state Senate. And the current session started on January 5th. I'm not saying that there are no good people in the legislature. There are, but they're certainly not in the majority. So this is the Speaker. I'll move myself over here. This is the Speaker of the Illinois House, Chris Welch. He was Chris Welch, he's the leader of the House. The Speaker is the leader of the House. So the majority leader is Greg Harris. The minority leader is Jim Durkin. And again, I hate to do it, but these names will probably appear on a test at some point, at least his, Chris Welch. You need to know who the Speaker is. If you turn on local news, Chris Welch today made a statement about this, that, and the other thing. I don't want you guys going like, who is this person? Minority Leader is Jim Durkin. He's a lifer in the House of Representatives. And another thing, I don't anticipate Chris Welch, Greg Harris, or Jim Durkin going anywhere. These three will probably be reelected, probably as in like 75 to 95% chance. Chris Welch will still be Speaker after the election. So there are 73 Democrats, 45 Republicans. Believe it or not, the amount of Republicans has increased. And their authority derives from Article 4 of the Illinois Constitution. Now, the Illinois Constitution is available online, and I would strongly advise you to look it up and download a copy, or just cut and paste into a Word document so you have a copy handy. I print those out for the kids I've got in the classroom, but it probably would not be a bad idea for you to have a copy for reference too. Hint, hint, hint. And they make $69,464 a year, plus a $151 per diem. And a per diem is per day, the amount they get to spend per day when they're down in Springfield. So they can go out to dinner, they can use it to pay for a hotel room, whatever. Now, in my online, not in my online, in my classroom, in my brick and mortar class, let's see, Illinois house days worked. This is a part-time job, being a representative, being a senator also. So we're just going to look at the House schedule. We're going to look at not committee hearings. We're going to look at legislative days for calendar year 22. So when they're all together, when they're all working in the chamber. Total 2022 session days, 40. 2021, total 21 session days, 68. Total 2020 session days. We can kind of forgive this with COVID and all that. Not 26 days. Total 2019 session days, 73. Now, does this translate into $69,464 a year? I'll leave that up to you to decide, but for working, 69 days a year, I'd love a job like that. I asked a very basic question when I got this in my in-person class. I said, how does that make you feel? And I said, mad. Mad. But, again, they vote on how much they make. They vote. So, are they going to vote to decrease their salary? No, they've got a very good gig. They've got a good gig going. So duties of the House, they make laws for Illinois. Of course, the laws, the bills they pass, they have to go to the Senate and be signed by the governor, just like on the federal level. They appropriate funds, they consider the vetoes of the governor, they begin impeachment proceedings of state officials. So, just like at the federal level, and this is probably also going to be asked on the test, just like on the federal level, the Illinois House of Representatives will vote on what the state official did wrong. I call it a bill of particulars. It's called something else. So it's the bill of particulars. Jonathan Parker did X, Y, and Z in violation of state law, we feel. And they would then vote on it, and if it passed, it would go to the Senate. The Senate would have to convene a trial. All the senators, all 59 of them, would act as judges. And if there was enough to convict, whoever it was would be removed from office. Now, any state official can be impeached. Anybody from the governor on down to a judge can be impeached. Not like a mayor or an alderman, because they are not state officials. They're city or town officials. An impeachment, though, just removes the person from office. An impeachment is not a criminal activity. The person would not be going to jail after an impeachment. All right? Unless the Illinois State Police or other law enforcement agency got involved and charged them with a crime. So that's an impeachment is just saying, you're out, you can't hold office anymore. That's it. So the Illinois Senate is the upper house of our General Assembly. It is also under Democratic control. I don't see that changing anytime soon. They also do not have term limits, because why? They would have to vote to give themselves term limits, and there are very few people on this earth that would give up power willingly. Their session started on January the 5th, also of 2022, and their leadership, here's Don Harmon. The majority leader is Kimberly Lightford. Minority leader is Dan McConchie. Again, I don't see these people going anywhere. I could be wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong. But leadership has a tendency to stay in their positions of authority. Now, I was explaining this to the in-person class. There's a strange sort of phenomena where people love their state senator or their U.S. representative, but hate Congress or the Illinois General Assembly. Because they say we all lived in Don Harmon's district. Well, we wouldn't think Don Harmon was doing anything wrong. Don Harmon was voting our way. Don Harmon seemed to share our values. Don Harmon was just wonderful person. But he was leading an evil Senate or something like that. We'd have a tendency to blame the other 58 senators for what was happening and not Harmon. And this goes for any senator or any elected official. There's a name for that phenomenon. I'm not quite sure what it is at the moment, and this doesn't quite allow me to look things up. I got to stop it and restart it and all that. But yeah, it's like you love your elected representative, you hate the body that they serve in. So that's why nobody really gets voted out, and the composition of legislatures and individuals serve probably beyond their best buy date. So the Senate, there are 59 of them, 41 Democrats, 18 Republicans. So the Democrats can really get through whatever they want to get through. And they serve for 4 years. Their authority is also vested in Article 4 of the Illinois Constitution. They get the same exact salary and per diem as their friends in the House of Representatives get. They make laws for Illinois. Again, if a bill starts in the Senate, it would have to go to the House of Representatives and then the governor. They appropriate funds. They consider the vetoes of the governor. If this sounds familiar, that's because it is. They do largely the same things. They serve as judges in impeachment trials. There's a major difference, as I explained earlier. The House determines what the elected official did wrong. The Senate tries it. The Senate puts the person up on trial and makes a decision as to whether or not they actually did X, Y, or Z. And they approve appointments made by the governor. So the governor has the power to put, whoever up for nomination to lead, say, the Department of Child and Family Services, DCFS. That would have to be confirmed. So the person would go before a Senate committee made up of these guys, and they would vote on it, vote the person out of committee, recommend their nomination, and then the full Senate would vote on it, just like the U.S. Senate. There are a lot of similarities, and again, that's by design. The Constitution is by design a reflection in many ways of the federal Constitution. And we'll end part 2 here.